Red FM at We the Women Townhall.
Hi, I'm Mohit from Red FM, and today I'm sitting with the Queen, the Maharani of Baroda, Radhikaraje.
Thank you so much.
Ma'am, my first question, does your day begin with somebody playing a trumpet through your window?
Well, it used to happen in the old days, but there are special occasions where we do wake up to music. When there's a puja or certain days before the Diwali, there are times, but not every day.
A lot of people presume that, being a royalty is all about wearing fancy costumes, wearing tiaras. What's the reality like?
It's really quite different. Yes, there are opportunities to also wear that tiara and some fabulous, traditional attire and costumes. But I think it's much more than that, because the reason royalty still exists in the world is because they played an important role in leadership, in patronage, in valor, in creating and protecting their people. And I think somewhere we still feel responsible and hold that as a priority, the people that we are connected with, our community. And I think in some capacity or the other, you will see most royal members in India and abroad connected with the community.
I was really surprised to know a fact about you, that you traveled in DTC buses in Delhi during your school years. Did that really happen?
Oh, absolutely. I still can travel by bus. That's not an issue. And very often I'll get into an auto rickshaw and travel. I do it, yes. And I encourage my children to do that as well.
So how did that happen in your childhood?
I think my father particularly was very keen that we grow up in a very, very egalitarian atmosphere, that we are exposed and raised and to be able to fend for ourselves in any situation. And I think that was the training that he received, because he was born in of course, colonized India, but as he grew in a country that was freed and had earned its democracy, I think his family and his grandfather also taught him to go and find his fortune outside and realize that times have changed, and adapting was the only way that people could really survive, and royal families would become redundant if they did not learn to adapt. So that was his experience and learning in his growing up, and I think he wanted to pass that on to us, and I'm very grateful for it.
See, royalty in a country like ours is a position of privilege that we all understand, right? What role can it really play in today's times?
So I'll tell you that royalty has, if you are in politics or in administration or in a business, you are relevant. In royalty, there is a nostalgia. There is a retrospective role that you may have played for centuries. I mean, there has been leadership, and there has been camaraderie, and there has been valor and history and all of that for centuries. But post-independence, there have been several royal families who've done exemplary work in the field of social work and in politics, because leadership is inbuilt in most communities like us. It's transgenerationally, genetically ingrained to be leaders of the community. And what I mean community is not in only a regional way or a religious way. I mean community as in your society, your people, is what I would call your kutumb or community. So I think what we really have as a legacy of those generations of leadership is goodwill and respect and regard and trust that the people still have for these families like us. And they trust us. They trust us that we're not going anywhere. We're not here for a few years and we're going to vanish. Because the families have been the faces for the cities and their regions for, like I said, centuries. So they're not fly-by-night operators, and I think people understand that. So when they come with the intent to connect with the people or serve the people or collaborate with the people, I think there is an inbuilt regard and mutual trust, and I think that is a great foundation for anything to be achieved. And we are very blessed to receive that. And you can then bring change and awareness and create further connections and inroads into betterment of society.
not a lot of people might be aware, but you were a journalist yourself, right? You worked for Indian Express for a couple of years, and if I read correctly, I think you were one of the first women in your family to have an actual profession, right? Uh, what has been your takeaway, during those years in journalism?
Absolutely thrilling. I loved to be the anonymity of being a witness to whatever you were writing on, to be a witness and to be still have a voice. I think that's a very powerful way to be, because if you are invisible, you can choose to be neutral, or you can, when you're invisible, you can choose to take sides and waver. But if you are invisible and yet choose to be neutral, then you really do have a power, and that's the power of journalism. And I felt empowered as a voice, to be able to write, and I think it gave me a lifelong confidence that today I may not be in a job where I have a boss, or reporting to someone, so to speak, but I know that tomorrow if I need to go get a job, I know I have it in me to able to earn a salary in a profession. So it's given me an inbuilt confidence, and I hope that my daughters, when they learn, get the experience of working, also have that experience to carry forward.
Currently, there's been a lot of talk about, like, say, journalism being used as a tool for propaganda, right? Where do you see journalism really heading? In which direction is it heading in our country?
It's That's exactly coming back to my point, that the invisible force that journalism should be, where and I heard this Raghu Rai say this very very powerful statement, that journalism is the first draft, responsible journalism is the first draft of history. And when you look at that, you realize how important the role journalism has to play in society. And um, and I think we don't take that role seriously enough, as citizens of the country, or as representatives of the free press. So yeah, I think still a long way to go.
I think that's a really powerful statement, journalism being the first draft of history. My last question to you, what's that one heirloom that you want to pass on to your daughters?
What would I like to pass on? So many things. I think the heirloom I would like to pass on is just the experience and insight that I may have gained through my years of of a very shared life, that I know that they will also have similar experiences. And I think just that, believe in yourself, and do not worry too much about what other people think. And I've been saying that a lot today, because when I try and analyze myself as an 18-year-old or a 16-year-old, you're so obsessed about what people think that you don't really are really not thinking for yourself. You're not really thinking about what you want or what you think of yourself. And it's very very important to like yourself. And if you want to like yourself, you're going to work towards it, rather than worrying about wanting to be liked by others. So I think if we let go of that need to be liked, we are going to be more fearless about being the best version we can be, and really being authentic. So I think that's the advice I will give my daughters.
Couldn't be more true in the age of vanity that we live in. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.